I don't think there's a more anointed song than what God gave. And what, how symbolic of God bringing Jew and Gentile together, Ephesians chapter 2, the one new man, one new man, then God giving this song to this prophetic song to Pat Boone. Pat and Shirley are some of the most godly, kind, humble, wonderful people in the world, and gave it to him on Christmas Eve, and he wrote it on a Christmas card with a candle, one candle, showing the unity of the one new man. It's prophetic. And this song is, it's a great song, but it is a greatly anointed song.
It sure is.
And then on the DVD, Pat sings this song from Masada, but he sings a lot of other songs from other sites in Jerusalem. When you hear these songs, and you may have heard them before, but when you hear them from these holy spots, it's supernatural. And we're going to not just give you one, we're going to give everybody two, so that, it's almost like Pat and Shirley passed it on to us.
Exactly.
We're passing it on to you. You take one, pass it on to somebody else, because now is the time for us to stand with Israel and the Jewish people around the world.
Larry, before we teach, I want to just take a minute. I know, Pat and Shirley, you are watching because you're with us every day, and we want to thank you so very much for allowing us to be a part of getting this word out, getting this song to the world, but also just to thank you for your heart, your passion, your dedication, and being such a godly example to the world for 60, 70 years. We love you.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And your best is yet to come, too. Amen. All right, so we're talking about the weapons of our warfare. We're talking about the month of Elul.
Yes.
The month of Elul, just real quick, is the Hebrew month. And by the way, we've got a calendar, and just to tell people, show people, because a lot of people get, well, how come the calendar starts in September? Well, because September is the beginning of the new year. And so this is a phenomenal time to get a seed of blessing into the land of Israel to bless your new year. And we're coming out of Jubilee. This is the most important time you could ever give a seed that we can be a blessing to Israel. But during the month of Elul, I guess I'm kind of a rebel in the ministry. It just makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up when I hear that God's going to catch us unaware, and He's got nothing. God is a good God.
Yes, He is.
He's not a hard taskmaster, and God is not going to catch us who love Him unaware. And this month of Elul is a prime time. The month of Elul is a rehearsal for the rapture. The rapture is Rosh Hashanah, a symbol of Rosh Hashanah. Then you have the 7 years of tribulation. Then you have Yom Kippur. Then you have Sukkot, which is our first fruit, and the wedding supper of the Lamb. And so for 30 days leading up to Rosh Hashanah, when on Rosh Hashanah, God opens the book to see what your blessing is going to be, to see, have you done something good? Have you been a blessing so God can be a blessing to you? And then He closes that book on Yom Kippur. So that you don't miss it, the priest would get up twice a day from the temple and blow the shofar. This is where we get the song, Blow the Trumpet, because we didn't want to be Jewish, we wanted to be Gentile. Blow the shofar in Zion, sound the alarm. And so people would hear it and they go, wow, we're getting ready. We better make sure that we've been a blessing to somebody. And so they get ready. And when they hear it, they would then take their shofar and blow it, because there are other people further away from Jerusalem. And that's what we're doing with you. 20-something years ago, we heard the shofar. And now we're blowing it for you. Now we want you to blow it. But it's not just a ritual, Tiz. It's something powerful. Let me read. Let me read. Everything God does, I got to do this quick. I only have 3 minutes. Everything God does is physical and spiritual. In Joel chapter 2, blow the trumpet in Zion, sound the alarm in my holy mountain, let all the habitations of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord is coming, for it is at hand. That is a rehearsal for the rapture. But God is going to bring his blessing.
Yeah.
That's the spiritual part, that we're right in our heart spiritually. Yes. But listen to this. Numbers 10:9. When you go to war in your land against the enemy who is oppressing you, then you shall sound an alarm with the shofar. And when you do this, you will be remembered before the Lord your God and will be saved from your enemies. And it goes and talks about when the enemy hears you blow the shofar, he will flee.
Amen.
Now, people say, well, does something really happen when you blow the shofar? Yes, just like something happens when you lay hands on the sick. Something happens when you lift up your hands. God inhabits the praise of you. Something happens when you anoint someone with oil. Something happens when you put a mezuzah on your door, a mezuzah. Something happens when you give stedka or stedaka. Something happens when you wash your hands. You break the curse limits of this world. When you blow the shofar, demons flee. The enemy flees. Let me give you a great example. We were doing a conference down in Brazil, and the Roman Catholic Church sent 2 priests to apologize to the Jewish Christians in Brazil for the Inquisition, for forced conversion, and all this. And this one priest, I had dinner with him afterwards, Johannes, said that he was a priest of a certain city in Europe. They were, all the Christian organizations were getting together and they were doing a march from a ghetto neighborhood where they had locked up the Jews during World War II to the train station where they shipped them off to Auschwitz. He didn't want to because, in his own words, he said, I was a Catholic priest and a Nazi. And I was taught to hate the Jewish people. But he said, I had to do it because the Vatican made me. And he said, as we were walking, I just hated it. I didn't believe the Jews should be in Israel. I hated that the Jews were the chosen people. And he said, and all of a sudden, a rabbi blew the shofar. And he said, when I heard that sound, something in my heart snapped. And I went from hating the Jews to loving the Jews and standing with the Jews. What I want to ask you to do is send your very best gift that we can take a gift to Israel to stand with B'nai Zion, build them shelters, a bomb shelter. They are just seconds away from Syria and Lebanon. That's the physical. God will bring a blessing to you. But I want you to also, every day, and we'll give you instruction, you go to our website, every day for 40 days, join me and blow the shofar. Can you imagine if hundreds of thousands of us from America to Australia, throughout Europe, England, Central and South America, Canada, we're all blowing the shofar. I'm telling you, the latter rain is ready to come. The enemy is going to flee. And I believe in all of our countries, the grace and the blessing of God is about to return in a mighty, mighty way. They're telling me we're out of time. I'm Larry.
I'm Tiz.
We love you guys. Blow the trumpet in Zion. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.